friend Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. This one has been in the works and been talked about for about 10 years now, and that's what we do here. We babble on and we talk about music we love, and so we're going to talk about this album that has finally come out. It is from Bruce Dickinson. It's called the Mandrake Project, and I got mine a little bit early, so here we go. I'm going to go over it a couple days. It's actually coming out this Friday, but I've been listening to this all day, and I got some thoughts on it, and there's already a single out there released from this one, the Afterglow of Ragnarok, which the video for that is like really strange. If you haven't had a chance to check that one out, it's cool. I mean, I like it and all, but check out that video. It's kind of cool. Now in this band we have Bruce, of course. We have Roy Z on guitars, who like co-wrote and has worked on plenty of his other albums and stuff. And he's on guitars on this one. On drums we have Dave Marino and Mysteria on keyboards. And on bass on this one we have Tanya O'Callahan, which I may not, if you don't remember who she is, she was with Whitesnake there for a little bit on their last tour, but I don't know her for much of anything else. But anyway, this album, let's get into it. I've seen a couple things with Bruce where he's talking about how this is going to be more than an album, and there's so much more. I haven't seen a whole lot more that's coming out with this, except for there's going to be like a comic book, like a series of comic books, like 12 episodes of 3 graphic novels, and that came out. Actually, I think that was launched in January. I'm not into the comic book thing, so I don't know exactly what's all involved in that. So for me, that isn't something that's going to be something that's going to entice me to buy anything. But I am a Bruce Dickinson fan, and I love Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden's one of the first bands I ever really got into with heavy metal, and yeah, I consider them heavy metal. And so, I've been a Bruce fan. I've been following his career since as far back as I can remember listening to music. So anyway, now this, I wasn't really sure what to expect musically from it, although I think this has more to do in line with a couple of the last albums he did, like, actually not even the last, like mid-90s, Accident of Birth and Chemical Wedding. It's got that type of feel, maybe a little bit of the Tyranny of Souls type feel to it, but there's some new stuff going on in here. If people haven't heard the first single, that's not much different on this album than as far as style goes from that song. The problem is when you talk about an album for 10 years and you build it up and you build it up and you build it up, you run the risk of it falling flat if it doesn't live up to what people have built up in their minds. Because if you build up something too much and people have vivid imaginations, they will build something up in their head even bigger than what you are building it up. And like Chinese democracy comes to mind. People really built that up, and then for me, when I got it, I was like, oh, whatever. I didn't care for that album too much, so wasn't really sure what to expect here. I will say that it is very well produced. Bruce is singing his butt off on this album. The musicianship is top notch. It doesn't sound like Iron Maiden, which is what I want anyway, from a Bruce Dickinson album. The stuff that he has released previously, I don't think sounds a lot like Iron Maiden. Obviously sings on it. He does have a lot to do, well, not a lot to do, but some to do with the writing. I mean, Steve Harris does the majority of the writing anymore, but his input is always there, and he does all the melodies, so you're going to have Bruce Dickinson melodies, obviously. Funny enough, there's actually a song on here called Eternity Has Failed, which is a song that was an Iron Maiden song with a different title, If Eternity Should Fail, from the Book of Souls, but that's on here, so that was kind of interesting. So the first, single, very big, heavy song, and in this, the front part of this album is very, very rock, very heavy. There's a cool thing when it gets like the third song, Rain on the Graves, where Bruce is kind of singing, talking through it. You get kind of like a Devil Went Down to Georgia type feel with it, where he's kind of like singing and talking, and then it gets into like a big, cool a lot of keyboards in this one actually, and it's kind of a gradual build to it. So that one was kind of different. I just thought that one had a unique style to it. Now Resurrection Man was like, I don't even know how to explain this one. This one was like most off the wall one on the album. It gives kind of like a Latin feel to it with a little bit of like flamenco guitar at the beginning, and then somehow, and it all works, it switches to like this doomy stoner type vibe. Like, it happens really fast, but it's you get this really thick, doomy, grudgy, stoner doom metal sound, like all of a sudden in the middle of it, and then there's get this weird atmospheric thing, and then back to the flamenco. It's like, I would rate this as probably like the most creative thing I've heard him do, like maybe ever, but definitely it's very creative. So that was probably like the highlight of the album for me, was that one right there. Now Fingers in the Wound, that one also has a weird Arabian type feel in the middle of it, and with a slide guitar somehow he does it. And I don't know, that one was kind of interesting and unique as well. So there's like some cool stuff going on this album. And yeah, you get to the Iron Maiden song, which he just changes the lyrics a little bit in it. And if you've heard that song, it's a whole lot different here. And then we get really fast for a little bit here. We got Mistress of Mercy, which kind of really goes back to, reminds me of like early Bruce stuff, like pre-Maiden, like Samson and that type of thing. Maybe a little bit from the the Chemical Wedding, like the song "The Tower" kind of gave me that, like that kind of a feel to it. Really catchy chorus too, so that one was very cool. Now the weird part of this is kind of where the album takes like a quick turn and things start going like slower. Everything just kind of like slows down. Like he just put on the brakes, Face in the Mirror here, being the song I'm talking about next. And I don't know, this one didn't really do a whole lot for me. It's not a bad song, because I don't think there's any bad songs on here, but it was just kind of like, after you hear what he had just done with those two that I mentioned there, this is kind of like I don't know, like somebody just slammed on the brakes, is how it felt like. And then Shadows of the Gods, it kicks in with some piano, and it kind of gets like a little bit upbeat in the middle of it. You get kind of this hypnotic Black Sabbath type thing going on. And it's a really long song, 7 minutes, so if you're into like the upbeat stuff that he's done, this one really does not pick up at ever. It's got a cool atmospheric feel to it, but it never kicks in at all. And then we end with a song called Sonata, Immortal Beloved, and really slow. I mean, this one's like almost 10 minutes long, really slow. It's really nice. It's got a cool vocal part and a really nice melody, very eerie sounding. The refrain just keeps saying "Save me now" over and over and over and over. A little bit of spoken word in there. The only thing I didn't like about this one is it just kind of like ends. You just kind of, there's like no build. There's no like kind of any final closure to the song. It just kind of like this. You're going along and all of a sudden it just ends. Like, that's it. We're over. What happened? We're done. And like, yeah, it's done. That's just how it ends. So a little weird. So all in all, I mean, I did like this album quite a bit, even though I maybe complained a little bit about the last few being very slow, and it's a weird way to end the album. I mean, it just kicks in, and then the last three songs just kind of like, and they're long. They go on and just kind of like maybe a little bit too long for me, but that would be my only complaint. Otherwise, musicianship's awesome. Bruce is singing like perfectly well. It's hard to believe he's been doing it this long. He still sounds so great. He's the only guy I know can get away with singing off key and still sounding amazing, because I don't know, I kind of like that about his vocals. He's always, not always, but every now and then he's a little bit, off, but it's, for some reason, it just sounds perfect, him doing it. And, of course, that's happening here, but what a great backing band. I don't know what else is coming along with this. He keeps telling us that there's so much more, he says. So I'd be interested to see what that so much more is. If it's the comic books, not so much for me, but maybe some people out there like that stuff. So if you like that, that'll be cool for you. And as always, feel free to leave your comments and thoughts on what you think about this, if you've had a chance to hear any of it yet. And, like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because this is one of those guys out there that really should be heard. I really like the stuff he does. I did like this a lot, even though I just had that little complaint about the end of it there. But anyway, until next time, we will see you.